I want to do a video about plugin and PR because from my experience, it's not actually worth it. So before we start, what is plugin and what is PR? Okay, plugin is radio plugin, so if you want to get yourself onto radio, generally radio producers and radio presenters will only take music requests from pluggers, from people whose job it is to kind of be the filter for radio producers and radio presenters so that they aren't just flooded with a load of emails saying, oh, listen to our music, it'd be great on your show. They actually have a kind of a plugger sat there that's kind of taking jobs in, so they're getting paid to do that, and then they will go to the radio producer and kind of pitch and go, oh, this would be really great for this show because of this, or this would be really great for this. It's really ideal for the radio producer side because it makes their life easier. They have someone who they trust who can be that filter for them. PR is basically that, but for kind of blogs or magazines or anything that might kind of review or feature your music. The difference here is that you could do this bit yourself. Generally, they have kind of relationships built up, so it is more ideal to go through a PR company than it is to just do it yourself. But magazines and blogs generally don't have a kind of thing of, I don't want emails from any random person like radio presenters and producers do. So if you were going to do one of these things yourself, PR is a lot easier than plugin. But as the title of the video suggests, I don't think it's worth it. I genuinely do not think you paying money for PR and plugin is worth it. To get a good plugger or to get a good PR company, you're talking hundreds of pounds. So maybe £600 minimum for a company that's going to do a really good job on, say, an EP campaign. If it's just a single, like you're just doing one song, a lot of companies won't even touch it because they want it to be part of a bigger thing. Or some will touch it, but some will do it at a reduced rate, mainly because they know that it's not going to get as much traction with the blogs or with the radio companies as an EP or an album would do. Now, obviously, this isn't ideal because that isn't modernized. That's not what the kind of new music industry is. The new music industry is you playing to something like Spotify because most people listen to music on Spotify. So it benefits you to just release singles. If you're just going to do that, it's not as ideal for PR and pluggers. I don't think people reviewing or people doing features care as much as the PR companies that are kind of making that barrier. But as I was saying, for a proper campaign, you're talking like £500, £600. For a really good plugger, you might be talking thousands of pounds. If they've got really good relationships with people at Kerrang and people at BBC Radio 1 and all of the companies in the media that are the kind of the big dogs, yeah, you are talking a lot of money to pay them. So I want to talk about the most ideal situation here, and that is you getting, say, playlisted on BBC Radio 1. That is kind of the highest you can get in terms of radio. That is the best thing. It is you getting regular plays on the most popular radio station in the country, which is fantastic. Except, now I'm not going to name names here, but a band that I was working with when I was working at the record label before we started Kicker got Radio 1 playlisting. They were releasing EPs and got an EP that got a really good plugger, got a really good PR company, and they managed to get playlisted on BBC Radio 1. It created close to 0 fans. Now, I've seen panels with people from BBC Radio talking about this, and they're on about, like, we have the best listener base of anything that you could possibly want to get on. We have millions of people listening, and they're all the age range that most new artists want to get into. So it's kind of your teenagers and young adults, like people like myself. That is people who are listening to BBC Radio 1. So to get in front of their ears is the best thing. Except, we did that, and it gave us literally no results. I've seen this many times with stuff in PR as well, which is why I've kind of lumped the two together today, is that you might get a feature on NME, you might get a review in Kerrang, you might get an amazing feature on a blog, you might get loads of features on loads of blogs, you might get loads of reviews. You end up in a situation where you've got all of these companies and blogs and brands that are all interested in you and they're saying, look how cool this stuff is. And then you realise that they are only featuring you because they need traction to their website from your fans. They don't have an audience like they used to. Back in the day, like in the kind of old MTV days, picking up a magazine like Kerrang or picking up the NME magazine, you would be physically looking for new music. Oh, cool, what's going on with new music? Oh, let's check that band out, let's check that band out. Oh, that review's really good, let's check that band out. Nowadays, because it's all online, that's not really how people consume new music anymore. The internet exists. Spotify has a really great way of finding new artists. The social media in general does. If you just do a blanket search for stuff on social media with like hashtag punk rock or hashtag new metal, you will find smaller artists that are promoting themselves under those hashtags. And that's better than going onto a specific blog to search for reviews of new artists. People just don't do that, which means you getting a feature on a blog's cool. You get to show off and go, oh look, this blog featured our thing. But just be aware that no one is on that site looking at you. All your fans are looking at the thing going, oh, that's pretty cool, I'm going to read that. Oh, that's pretty cool, I was already aware about the song. And that's it. You're making yourself look good to your fans, but you aren't generating new fans because that blog or that website doesn't have people regularly going to it to check out new music. And if there are people doing that, it's probably not worth the amount of money that you've spent on a PR company or a plugin company to make that happen. If you get 10 fans per feature and you get, say, 10 features, you've got 100 fans. Is that worth thousands of pounds? No, you can do promotion on social media for a hell of a lot cheaper than that. You can do promotion on Spotify for a hell of a lot cheaper than that. You could spend that money making more shit, so then you can actually give that shit to the new fans that you might create, and you can have the cycle loop go quicker rather than releasing one EP a year, having PR behind it, and then having to wait another year to put the next one out. You can now pay for 2 EPs because you've just saved some money, and that means that you're actually going to get more fans because the music is what they're there for. They don't give a shit about the reviews, they don't give a shit about the features, they care about the music that you're making, and you would be far better off paying for that than paying for someone to go to blogs to get it featured for your fans to then be aware of the feature. Fucking pointless. I don't want to turn you off completely. If you're an artist on the rise, if you're getting somewhere and would like magazines and blogs to kind of get behind you to start that ball rolling more, fine, go with it. If you've got the money spare to do it, do it. I'm not trying to say absolutely don't use PR and plugin. I'm just saying if you're an artist that's gaining, say, you're getting 2 new followers on Twitter every week, you might think, oh, that's not many. Most artists are in that position. If you're in that position, you might say, oh, well, getting a blog or feature review might double the amount of people that's kind of coming your way, which is fine, but you're only going to get that every single time that you pay to get that done. So if you're getting 100 fans a day, cool, yeah, doubling that would be fantastic. If you're only getting 2 fans a week, it's really not worth it for an extra 2 fans a week for you to be paying hundreds and hundreds of pounds. Because if you are only getting 2 fans a week, chances are you aren't earning money from your music yet. And if you are, it's not breaking even by any means. It's not worth you spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds to create that many fans, when if you think about it, think about all the cool shit that you could do with like £600. You could probably go in the studio, record a single, make an amazing music video, create loads of interesting content that you could then give to the fans in the lead up to that single coming out with the music video. You could pay for your own show and do an amazing show. You could even pay someone to film it, and you could pay for all of that with just like £600. That's not too expensive. If you went to the most expensive studio and got the most expensive videographer to film everything, then yeah, you wouldn't be able to afford that. But if you're doing it DIY, which you should if your budget is £600, you can get a lot done for that, rather than paying for one company to just get you some reviews and features that no one cares about. You care about it, and they care about it because they're getting clicks to their website. No one else cares. The only argument I can see people making against this is, well, I go onto blogs and I always look at new music, and I'm friends with this blogger who always finds new music, and I'm always interested in that, which is fine, but you're in a minority. People who watch this channel are into the music industry. They are part of the thing that is the creative side. They are part of the industry and aware of kind of the creative process. The fans, the people that are actually going to make this work for you as an artist, aren't that. They are people who scroll through Facebook constantly. I mean, you might too. Scroll through Instagram, scroll through Twitter. They probably don't type in nme.com and go to the review section, or go to the features section, go to the interview section. Most people don't do that. People used to really respect the opinions of things like NME and Kerrang and BBC. But since the internet came about, there's been a shift. The power is now with the artist and the audience and the platforms in which they kind of broadcast themselves on, whether that is Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, whatever. The power is there, that connection there. Don't pay a company to get a review from another company to get the people who are already aware of you clicking through to their website. It's just pointless. Same goes with radio. From my experience, and I might be in a unique situation, getting plays on any radio station isn't worth the amount of money that you probably paid to get it. In the coming weeks, Joey's going to do a very similar video to this on music reviews, because we have very similar opinions with music reviews. They're a little bit more interesting and you can do something with them that might make it worth it. If the video is already out, I will link it on screen now. Also, on this side of the screen is more videos from this series. If you are interested, if you are a band that wants to kind of make it in the industry, we've got loads of videos for you, and hopefully they'll help. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll probably see you at some point next week.